Hi, I just want to have a quick discussion on paging using Angular 8 with .NET Core WebApi. The reason why I want to have this discussion is because I had a few questions when I was doing this and I couldn't really get a straight answer. I don't know if it was just lack of knowledge or lack of caring or concern. So I just wanted to share with how I came up with my solution, a little gotcha that I will show you also later on. So I will be using Postman with Visual Studio 2019. And .NET Core WebApi with the framework 3.1. So let's get started. So in Postman here, we can see we got our data in our body, and we got paging, and here's our headers. And here we have expagination along with all our paging information, and we'll see that this works. So let's go to page 2, and we get the next set. We can turn this up, show more. So we see that all works. Now let's go to our web API. Okay, so in our web API, we're just passing in from our query string these set of parameters. Our search query, our page number, or page size. This max page size is to avoid users from doing stuff like this. Because trust me, if they can do it, they will do it. So here, no matter what, put 5,000, you still return 10 records back. Put 1,000,000. Again, just prevents them from taxing your system. Again, I highly recommend paging. It does prevent users from doing stuff like this, because like I said before, if they can do it, they will do it. I recommend it on any gets, unless it's like a get by ID. Then you don't have to worry about it as much as you return 1 or 2 records back. So a quick overview, this using a unit of work with the repository pattern. Again, another discussion we can have if you want. So all this does is get our member information along with all our accounts. That is basically just this. Okay, and then this next add pagination is putting adding the header information into the header. That is pretty much this whole line. That's this. So let's get into it. So let's go into our member data. So we're just checking the parameters. We're getting a iQueryable of members. Again, that's another discussion. That's just really deferred execution. We can have a discussion on that if you want. We're checking the search query parameter. If there's a value in it, we're going to go ahead and check the last name that contains whatever we pass in. And now there's another class called page list. There's a create method in there. What that does, it just gets all our page numbers, and we'll go take a look. Along with so it gets our count, our items. Use a skips take situation here. So this will allow just a page, puts in a collection. Now you see the to list. And here it returns, we use a generic list of T, another discussion later. Return a total count, page size, current page, total pages, and we're adding it to our collection. So that's all that does. So like I said, just getting our member data and getting all our totals. So add pagination is going to get all our header information. Again, it's just a flat class. Current page, eyes per page, total count. That's all these. Oops. You don't have to do this. I'm just using this camel case formatter. That basically just puts it into this. See, camel case, see the lower C, instead of returning, format like this. So that's all that does. And now we're putting it into here. Now we're putting it into our response header, and we're calling it expagination. That's a name that you can put whatever you want. Paging, pagination, expag, whatever you want. That just gives you this variable here. That just gives us this header, expagination, and all our values. So that's what the response.headers.add does. Give it a name, pass in your paging information, and your formatter here. That's all that does. So let's go back. And again, now we're just returning, using AutoMapper, returning member DTO. You don't want to pass a class back from your database. So we're just mapping it to here. Again, let's go take a look. Why did I do that? So here you just see you got ID, first name, last name. That's all this information that's in our response body. And as you see, there's no paging information. This is what I was trying to avoid. I didn't want to dump all the paging information here. I just wanted the header. It's just, for me, that's just application information. It's not data. So that's all it is. So it returns back ID numeral of our business data transfer object. So now let's go take a look at our Angular application. So I already put a breakpoint in here. I just wanted to show you. So if you look over here, what we're going to try to do is just grab our header count information. You see we got expagination and all our counts. So here's what I want to kind of show you a gotcha, I guess, for me anyways. If you look here, by looking at our header, it seems like it should go in, grab our expagination, which that's what we called it. Again, call it whatever you want. So let's see. So we were just saying response.headers.get that value. If you watch it, just skips right over it, thinks it's null. So if I run this, it won't error, but it's not going to give your paging information. It'll give your body, but not your header information. So the fix for that is it has to go back to our web API. So let's go back in there and stop it. Let's go back where it creates our headers. Like I said, all the data is fine. You have to add this line in here. Access control expose headers. So this allows you to pull this information out of your headers. So let's run this, and then we can view it, and we'll see what it looks like now. Let it finish, and then we'll run it. Okay, so let's run it and see what we get back in our headers. Alright, so we see as our expagination, again, call it what you want, it turns back all our same information. That's fine. Now we see we just injected this access control expose headers in here. That's all we did. So let's go back to our Angular application, refresh it. This might take a second. I don't know why. Okay. So hopefully now with that, adding the access control expose headers, now we should be able to jump in here. So now when it reads our headers and we say we want to get this header, it should now go in here. It should not see it as null now. Let's try it. Yep. So let's see what we got coming back now. Our header information. Current page is 1, items per page is 5, total is 1,000, total page is 200. Okay. So let's run it. Now we should get our body back as usual and along with our paging. All right, let me take that breakpoint off so we can see it work. There. So now instead of turning 1,000 rows, we're returning 5. Again, you have a large data set. You got users in charge of this stuff. They can return it all. You always want to do it. You know, they got some paging modules out there. You can roll your own as well. I found one called Nginx Pagination, I think it is. It works well for me. I rolled my own. If you want, message me. We can have another discussion. But this one works for me. To me, it was lightweight. It's easy to set up. Not a ton of code, and does just what I need. So let's see. I'll just take a quick look. I don't want to bore you with the details. That's all it is. You add it. Expagination controls. You put a click event, a page change, pass in the event. Now if you look in component, there's your page change, you pass in your event, call your method. Basically this event is just your page number. And it goes out to your database and only grabs those records instead of returning the entire data set. You gotta be careful because there's a lot of modules out there that will return all your data, and it will page through it very fast, just like this, but it returns all your data. So you've got thousands of users and thousands of rows of data, and they're all doing this. It'll slow your application down a lot, and it'll probably bring a server to its knees a little bit. So just kind of be on the lookout for those type of things. I'm sure you kind of see I got my again, design pattern stuff. We can always discuss this type of stuff later. Makes for great conversation. So if you want to have a conversation about architecting an Angular 8 application or your web APIs, feel free to message me. It always makes for good conversation and kind of discuss these, why I did this implementation again, outside the scope of paging. Or if you just want to discuss paging, again, there's multiple ways of doing this. If you have a different way of doing it, let's have an open conversation. I'm always up for it. All right, thanks for listening.